Welcome everyone to Boxing Scene's top stories only on ProBox TV, your boxing channel. I am George Demetellus. Remember to download the ProBox TV app where apps are available for the full ProBox TV experience, which includes the great thoughts of our world champions. We have Chris Algieri and Paulie Malignaggi joining us here on Top Stories. Well, David Benavidez woke up Wednesday with an epiphany. He says, quote, "I don't want to fight someone who doesn't mean something for my career. I only want to fight the best available. And the best out there now is David Morrell." Now, a boxing official connected to the situation told BoxingScene Thursday that an offer from Benavidez' camp has been sent over to representatives of Morrell, and they are waiting to hear back. Now, both boxers fight for PBC, and messages to PBC were not returned immediately on Thursday. The boxing official said, quote, "PBC loves the Benavidez-Morel fight. Everybody loves the fight because it's the best fight possible." And the official also went on to say, Morrell has a big mouth, and he said things before, things like Benavidez has chickened out from fighting him. So we expect this offer to be accepted. Nothing has been confirmed yet. All right, Paulie, what do you make of this matchup here between David Benavidez and David Morrell?
It's a matchup that's solid. The weight class that happens, that really matters to me. If are they going to stay at 175? I think if they're going to fight each other, they might as well make it at 168 and keep their foot on Canelo's neck, and then make it more obvious that he's ducking either one of them. If they make the fight at 175, it has less luster. It's still a good fight. To be honest, I think both guys could probably use one or two more fights at 175 before they take on the winner of that monster fight between Beterbiev and Bivol. But at 168, first of all, if they fight at 168, this would show that they can both still make 168, and they're more than willing to make 168 for the right fights. It would change around our entire 168-pound rankings, which we did recently. And like I said, it would keep their foot on Canelo's neck because he's going to not fight either of them, but this would only make it look worse for him.
Yeah, I actually love this fight. I thought that Benavidez was going to make this move earlier. I thought he was going to do it when they were both still at 168 because he was not getting the Canelo fight. And, I mean, how do you put even more pressure than you already have? Well, go fight the other guy that doesn't seem to want to, that Canelo doesn't seem to want to fight, and that's David Morrell. And in terms of him saying he woke up and had an epiphany, man, I just love the way Benavidez moves. Him and Tim Tszyu, man, they just talk the way you want your fighters to talk. They talk the way you want your champions to talk. They're all about the smoke. They want to fight everybody. Who's the best fight around that's available to me right now? That's David Morrell. That's what he's thinking. That would be get him the furthest in his career. I think he's thinking smart. He's been thinking smart for a while. He's been moving smart, I believe. Benavidez, instead of trying to wait around for Canelo and let his career escape him, he's still taking on the fights. The Andrade fight, he moved up to 75 and took Gvozdyk on. Gvozdyk was not an easy go by any means. Very, very tough fighter, former champion, very, very talented guy. Yes, a little long in the tooth by the time David fought him, but it was his first fight at 75. So I really like the way that Benavidez is moving. I think it's a good fight. I think it's a good style matchup. I agree with you, Champ, in terms of the weight class matters. I feel that at 75 at this point, it would probably benefit Benavidez more so than Morrell. And at 68, that would really mix things up because 68 is turning out to be a super hot division where we're actually getting these guys to fight each other. If they're to come back in, man, that would be the winner of that would be a real dark horse at 168 who would be looking to maraud through the weight class and has tons of guys to fight. But regardless, whether it happens 68 or 75, I like the fight. I like the way that Benavidez is moving. I like the way that he's talking. The fight makes sense. It makes too much sense. That's why it probably won't even happen. But it's a cool thought. I like the way Benavidez is. I like where his head's at.
Let me ask you, Paulie, because we talk about weight classes, 168, 175. I assumed when I heard the news it was going to be at 175. Isn't the path to a world title faster at 175 compared to 168 with Canelo?
It's only faster if there's politics involved. 168 should be the obvious faster path. Benavidez has been the mandatory for 3 years, has actually refused to take step-aside money so that he can remain the mandatory and put the pressure on Canelo. I'm not sure, man. At this point, because of the politics, maybe the faster path to a title fight is 175. But I don't know if reaching a new weight class where there's such dominant champions as there are at 175, if that's the smartest way to just jump right into a title fight that fast, you may need to acclimate to 175, because those guys at 175 are way better than Canelo. One of them beat Canelo easily already, so you're dealing with a more difficult proposition at 175 in terms of actually trying to win the title against those guys. 168, you have an easier title fight, but you have a guy who won't give you the title shot, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know what the faster proposition is, because you go to 175, you might fight for the title and lose. You go to 168, you got a guy you probably beat easily, and he's not going to give you a title shot. So is there a faster proposition to a title? I mean, you might get a title shot at 175, but there's less of a chance to win it at 175 as well. Not to say they can't win it, but I think there needs to be some acclimating at 175. So if they fight at 175, I'm not even sure if the winner of that automatically, jumps right into a title fight with the winner of Beterbiev and Bivol, based on the way they've looked at 175 so far. Everybody talks about Canelo's prime when he was fighting all these champions, and he did. He fought a lot of good fighters, but it's not an excuse to duck your mandatories now if you're going to be the champion. Also, even in his prime, I'm not going to tell you the Josecito Lopez's of the world, who are 2 weight classes below him, getting title shots also count as difficult challenges for the title. So this guy, it's not like this guy just started doing this. Alfredo Angulo counts as an ex-world champion. That this guy's it's on Canelo's resume. Angulo was already shot when Canelo fought him, though. So yeah, on paper it looks like, oh, that's one of the ex-world champions that he fought. He's fought so many champions. Manipulating boxing is boxing's biggest problem. When you have 2 guys who are hungry and willing to fight at their hungriest, at their best, which is very rare. Benavidez and Morrell want to fight everybody at their best. Tim Tszyu wants to fight everybody at his best. Getting guys who want to fight, who are at their best, and they want to fight the others at their best is very rare, because everybody tries to manipulate the game. And so you got guys, that's why this fight is so interesting, because both guys are at their best right now, and they want to go head to head, and they have no problem going head to head, and they don't want to manipulate the situation like most of the rest of boxing, especially most of the West of boxing in the West does.
Yeah, Chris, what do you make of possibly a faster path to a title shot? I should have said title shot instead of title, for Benavidez or Morrell at 175 to compare to Canelo at 168, who's holding a lot of those belts.
Yeah, it's hard to say, George, whether the faster path will be 175, where you get the winner of the Benavidez and Bivol, the Beterbiev and Bivol fight. So many B's at 175 right now. Yeah. But in terms, that fight, you got 2 guys who are fighting in a couple weeks. We don't know how that's going to turn out. You don't know who's going to win that fight. You don't know if there's going to be a rematch. You don't know if there's a rematch close on both sides. There very well may be. You don't know if you end up having a rubber match. You don't know if one of those guys may retire after this series of fights or whatnot. But getting the shot wouldn't be as difficult, because it seems like whoever would be the winner of that fight whoever would win the Morrell-Benavidez fight would get the shot. And you're looking at champions like Beterbiev and Bivol, who are willing to fight the best guys, who are willing to fight the number 1 contenders in the weight class. So getting that shot probably wouldn't be that difficult. It's just timeline-wise what's really going to happen. But now at 68, the IBF has become vacant, and is going to be fought for by Shishkin and Skull, I believe it is, right? Kull or Skull are going to be fighting for that IBF title. So there is an option there at 68 as well, even if Canelo didn't want to fight you or is trying to avoid you, like it seems like he has been. So there are options. I'm not sure if Benavidez can make 75 or is willing to, make 68 or is willing to make 68 if it's not for the Canelo fight. So there's a lot of moving parts here. But at the end of the day, we got a guy who wants to fight a tough guy, a guy who on paper doesn't really move the needle as much as some other fights that are available, doesn't make as much money. And that's what I really like about Benavidez. He's not chasing money. He's not just chasing Canelo. He's chasing greatness and legacy, and he's willing to fight even the baddest guys at a higher weight class at 175. And that just speaks to him as a fighter, as a champion, and as a guy that I want to be at the top of the sport.
Yeah, Skull and Shishkin fighting for the IBF title at 168, and Benavidez 29-0, 24 knockouts, Morrell 11-0, 9 knockouts. That would be a firefight for sure. That would be a lot of fun to watch. We'll see what weight that they decide to fight at, because nothing has been confirmed yet, even if they will meet each other in the ring.
If they decide to fight.
Yeah.
If they decide to fight.
That's the first hurdle we need to get over when making this Benavidez and Morrell fight. And whenever that fight is announced, if it is announced, we will talk about it here on Top Stories. And don't forget to scan the QR code, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for the best live fight series in all of boxing. Wednesday Night Fights, another edition coming up October 9th here on your boxing channel. I'm George Benavidez, and this is Boxing Scene's Top Stories.
Wednesday Night Fights.
Dynamite action on Wednesday Night Fights every other Wednesday on your boxing channel.
Coming up on your next Wednesday Night Fights, October 9th. Chris, Primetime Colbert, and Omar Super Salcido step into the ring for what is sure to be a barn burner. Live from the ProBox Event Center in Plant City. Get your tickets at ProBoxTV.com or take your chances at the door. Wednesday Night Fights.
For more ProBox TV, scan the QR code on the screen or go to the App Store and Google Play. ProBox TV, your boxing channel.